All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah, name of Yahushua HaMashiach. This day's hit is John 5:39. What you want, cuz? Slapping on me and whatnot. You done made a mess in here. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accused you, even Moses, of whom you trust. But had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 23. Make it 23 and 22. Hearken unto your Abba that begat you, and despise not your mother when she is old. Buy the truth, sell it not. Also wisdom, instruction, and understanding. The father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice when he begetteth a wise child, shall have joy of him. So we were talking about that word tempt, right? So let's go ahead and pull them two words back up for memory's sake. Genesis 22 and 1. Get a hold of yourself, man. Get a hold of yourself. What's going on, Marquise? See, it came to pass after these things that Elohim did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here I am. So, of course, that word for tempt in this particular verse is Nasah. It was that Nun, Samak, and Hay. It means to test, to prove, or to put to proof. So, the one thing you got to understand before Yahuwah will receive you, he's gonna have to put you to proof. So let's take a look at something in James chapter 1 and verse 12. Give me a second. I'll be there in a minute. It says, "Bruised is the man that endured temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which Yahuwah promised to them that love it. Let no man say when he is shalom, brother. When he is tempted, I am tempted of Elohim. For Elohim cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempt he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust have conceived, it bring forth sin, and when it is finished, it bring forth death." Now, let's come over here to Psalms 95. 95. So now when he mentioned the temptation, now he didn't tempt Abraham with any evil, but certain temptations come up for the specific purpose of seeing what's in your heart. Let's pick this Psalms 95 and 3. They say, "For Yahuwah is a great Elohim and a great king above all gods. In his hand are the deep places of the earth. The strength of the hills is his also. The sea is his, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before Yahuwah our Maker. For he is our Elohim. We are the people of his pasture, the sheep of his hand. Today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation, as in the day of temptation, in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my work." So we'll look at verse 9. So you wouldn't have had that problem if you would have thrown it. So now you're going to have to be parched. Now that word for tempted here is Nasah as well, the same one that's in Genesis chapter 22. So the question for y'all is this: Shalom, man, how did they tempt Yahuwah in the wilderness? What are some of the things that they did to try him, to prove him, for him to show forth that he is the living Elohim? How did they prove him out? So they knew that Yah is Elohim in the wilderness. Because he said they tempted him and they tried him in the wilderness for 40 years. That was people murmuring and complaining in one instance. But there's certain instances, things that they said out their mouth where they just outright said, you won't do this or you won't do that, trying it. It's multiple reasons. That's close to one of them. Because they said that several times. So you have to pinpoint which time that they said that.
Like Moses brought us out here to kill us, for us to die.
That's along the lines of what she just said. So you got to be specific because they said that several times as well. Like y'all not saying nothing wrong, but you got to be specific.
I just think about when Moses went up there and they tried him, was like, he gone, he done left us. We can worship other gods now.
But that was saying that Moses had left him. Like, let me show y'all something. Deuteronomy chapter 6, right by verse 14. Make it about 6 and make it about 6 and 10. And it shall be when Yahuwah your Elohim shall have brought you into the land which he swore unto your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give you great and goodly cities which you build not, and houses of good things which you fill not, and wells dig which you dig not, and vineyards and olive trees which you planted not. When you shall have eaten and be full, then beware lest you forget Yahuwah, which brought you forth out of the land of Mizraim from the house of bondage. You shall fear Yahuwah your Elohim and serve him, and shall swear by his name. You shall not go after other gods, or the gods of the people which are round about you. For Yahuwah your Elohim is a jealous Elohim among you, lest the anger of Yahuwah your Elohim be kindled against you and destroy you from off the face of the earth. You shall not tempt Yahuwah your Elohim as you tempted him in Massah. How many of y'all are familiar what would happen in Massah? We done looked at it before. The word for tempt here is the same in both instances. It's Nasah. Y'all should be, and the word Masah that's used here for Massah is the same word that's used for temptation. And that's Psalms 95 and 8 when they said that do not be as the temptations in the wilderness. The word itself means temptation. How many of y'all familiar of what happened in Massah?
That was the rock. Yeah, they was striking the rock, right?
Let's go to Exodus chapter 17.
I thought that was simply Moses. I guess Moses did say that.
17 and 1. See, the thing with the water, that happened twice. They ain't happened just one. That happened twice. You got one in Numbers that happened. That's when he spoke to the, he was supposed to speak to it. But before he was supposed to speak to it, they had Sai Yahuwah with that before they even got there. They hadn't even been good in the wilderness a good 15 minutes. And all the congregation of the children of Yasharal journeyed from the wilderness of sin. And after their journeys, according to the commandment of Yahuwah, pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses and said, give us water that we may drink. And Moses said unto them, why do you chide with me? Wherefore do you tempt Yahuwah? So now they asking him to prove that he can get them some water. You know what I'm saying? See, the instance you probably could have been referring to, you would either had to mention the quails or the manna to be specific in what you were talking about. Because they said what you said verbatim in both of them situations. They claim, oh, we ain't got nothing out here to eat. So then he shot in the manna. Then they claim that they ain't had nothing to eat. They were tired of the manna. And then he said, I'm going to give you some quails. Y'all know what happened when he gave them the quails, right? Yeah, he killed them while they were eating it. So I give you enough quails where to come out your nostrils. And then while they were eating it, he killed them. You know what I'm saying? Because they went to lusting after the desire, and they were really tempting him or trying him to give them something to fulfill their lust. Not because that they actually like to prove. See, I seen a dude say that yesterday. if he all knowing and all wise, why he don't stop little kids from being raped, or why he don't see that's tempting him, that's trying him. Because you saying like, oh, he can't have no power, because if he had power, he would stop this and stop that. Never at any time did he ever open his mouth and said that he would stop anything of the sort. You know what I'm saying? He ain't never said that, oh, if somebody's getting abused, he told you, let me show you what he told you. Come to Ecclesiastes real fast. I'm going to finish this next sentence. This is what he told you. I done seen a dude say, you know, what type of God? So if a dude raped somebody, he can be forgiven? Yeah, nigga. Just because you, but see when he was saying that, what made me think of is what he said in Ezekiel. He said, your ways are not equal. You say the way of Yahuwah is not equal. He said, your ways are not equal. Because you got it in your mind that if a person commit rape or child molestation, he should be killed and not enter into the kingdom. Yet a person who commit adultery or homosexuality or fornication can be forgiven and they can get in. See, that's an unjust balance. That's an unjust way. Your ways are unequal. He said, ain't nothing unequal with me. You know what I'm saying? You got me messed up. Because you got it in your mind, that person is not worthy of repentance. But then you would have to look at it that you're not worthy of it either. So don't you ask for it in the same breath. Well, somebody say, well, what if it was your people? Well, that don't change the fact that Yahuwah's righteousness is still his, and it's going to be what it's going to be, irregardless of how you feel about it. I'll make sure I'm in the right place. I want to say chapter 5 and 8. He said, if you see oppression of the poor and the violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, marvel not at the matter. For he that is higher than the highest regard, and there be any higher than they. So he said, ain't no need for you to be amazed. He's seen it. You know what I'm talking about? He know what's going on. They'll get theirs in due time. He said, vengeance is mine, saith Yahuwah. Their foot will slide in due time. Let's continue back to Exodus 17. Verse 3. And the people thirsted there for water, and the people murmured against Moses and said, wherefore is this that you have brought us up out of Mizraim to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? That's the reason why I say it's not Moses, because their problem was with Moses. Their problem was with Yahuwah. So they could see Moses and they said his name. That's why he said, why you chiding with me? You tempting Yahuwah. You ain't got no problem with me. That's why he say he that despises don't despise man, but Elohim. That's who they had the problem with. And Moses cried unto Yahuwah, saying, what shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. Yahuwah said unto Moses, go on before the people and take with you the elders of Yasharal and your rod, wherewith you smote the river. Take in your hand and go. And behold, I will stand before you there upon the rock in Horeb, and you shall smite the rock, and there shall come waters out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Yasharal. And he called the name of the place Massa and Meribah, because of the chiding of the children of Yasharal, because they tempted Yahuwah, saying, is Yahuwah among us or not? So see, that was their biggest problem. Say they were looking at what was going on by saying, Yah wasn't with us. Is he among us or not? Because we ain't got no water to drink. We can't tell. And that's what, and that goes into what we were talking about last night, right? Now I got everybody in the room. Has anybody ever tried any of y'all to cause you to lose your faith? Like verbally came at you to cause said words to try to cause you to doubt or question what the word actually says. That ever happened? What about you, Shayla? Has that happened to you? What about you, D?
Has somebody did what?
Came at you with words to cause you to question or doubt the word. Basically trying to overthrow your faith.
Man, my earth did.
What about you? That has been done. I can't. And I ain't talking about as far as no commandments either. Like why you do this or why you do that. I'm talking about, and like this here, right? You ain't even got to sit back and look at it when you called yourself serving Yahuwah. The people come with all manner of stuff to call people to doubt. What about you, Monte? That's understandable. What about you, Stan? I ain't talking about no videos. I'm talking about somebody coming to you verbally.
Oh, no, I'm saying they came to me with a video and I seen it.
Or what they showed you, Zeitgeist, that's what they showed you. They had you around here saying, oh, it's fake. Yeah. That's an old video, man. Little white dude put a little amalgamation of Dr. Phil Valentine and all this other type of stuff. Standard information. Oh, it's zodiac signs and you know what I'm saying? All that stuff. What about you, Kylie? Ain't nobody told you your God ain't real. See, he can't wipe your butt for you. They ain't never said that. You'll be surprised. People say all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I hope he wouldn't either, but you got weird people out here. What about you, man? What about you?
Yeah.
What it did to you? So you can hit this weed, ain't gonna hurt nobody. You will not surely die.
I was talking to my home one time and then this was, but I was just like, hey, Brady, you gotta do good. I was like, what is good, man? What is, you know, and he started getting all of that.
He started getting emotional and philosophical.
Yeah. He started getting real philosophical. And I just was like, ain't no other.
What about you, man? What about you, so again? I can't tell. Doggone dog going through it. You gonna answer the question, over. Come over there. I got a belt on stage too.
Yeah, my mama.
What your mama said?
Well, yeah, you know, that's that one the same person. And I was like, oh, Mom, you know that you were great one here.
Oh, that's a little hard one. Like I keep saying, that's a hard thing. What about you, man? I can see that one there too, cause shoot, you got Hebrew, don't believe that. Any of y'all on this stream, somebody that came and tried to cause you to die? Like I told you, I done had people say a whole bunch of stuff. It mainly to cause you to not believe on the Mashiach. And I used to ask them niggas, well, check this out, bro. Well, who this is talking about right here? I know it ain't Jesus. I didn't say it was Jesus. So clearly by your admission, you know that it is, and you ought to go to hell for it. But I asked you who it was.
You got people say that the New Testament ain't real.
Oh, you got a lot of people feel like the New Testament ain't real. You got a lot of people feel like it contradicts. But the thing is you got to know that the ways and wiles of Satan, the ways and wiles of Satan is to come amongst you to cause you to doubt what Yah said. Those people were tempting Yah because they would doubt, is he among us or not? See, let me show you the verse that I mentioned to y'all last night, what I was talking about. That's Romans 14, about verse 22. Make it 14 and 20. It say, for meat destroy not the work of Elohim. All things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eat with offense. It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby your brother stumble, or is offended, or is made weak. Have you faith? Have it to yourself before Elohim. Baruch is he that condemned not himself in that thing which he allowed. And he that doubt is damned if he eat, because he eat not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin. So let's take a trip back to the law and see what's sit back and looking at as far as these people's tempting. And let's see how these people didn't eat of faith and how it ended up being transgression for them. Let's go to Exodus chapter 16. Okay, Aki said they try to be slick and not necessarily deny the commands, but deny total obedience with the standard things. You know, he know we can't keep all these laws. You know nobody can't be perfect. And that it is in the reality attempt to cause you to doubt your faith because he told you that you could do that. He said everyone that is perfect shall be as his master. You know what I'm saying? And among other things. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff. All it is the stuff to get you to question. Because once doubts creep in, that's when the adversary can make his move. A lot of people's faith get tested when they go through adversity. Because that's when people will pop up. That's when you get Job friend type niggas to pop up. Well, if God was with you, why would you be going through this? Why would you be going through that? You know what I'm saying? Same way they tempted Yahusha on the stake with the same words, did they not? If you be the son of Elohim, come on down. That would tempted him. He saved others, he can't save himself. They tempted him. We're gonna pick this up about 16 and 9. Moses spake unto Aaron, saying to all the congregation of the children of Yasharal, come near before Yahuwah, for ye have heard your murmurings. Kieran say some people just want to discuss it because they just want to argue. And you do have those people who only want to talk about the word just to argue. Their argument really is to try to plant seeds of doubt in the midst of the argument. And it came to pass as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Yasharal, they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the esteem of Yahuwah appeared in the cloud. Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, I've heard the murmurings of the children of Yasharal. Speak unto them, saying, at even you shall eat flesh, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Who can tell me how that was fulfilled in the gospel? It's been a long time since we talked about it. Matter of fact, I ain't even know none of y'all in here except for Lee and Glover when we talked about it. So who can tell me when this was fulfilled in the Gospels? So you eat flesh in the night and bread in the morning. How was this fulfilled in the Gospel? So you eat flesh in the night, bread in the morning. Got to be a little bit more specific.
And they ate his flesh at the last supper, and then being filled with bread at his resurrection. It's filled with spirit.
He can't filled with no spirit at his resurrection. He breathed on them, but that ain't like with Pentecost.
Nah, he opened the understanding when he resurrected.
Yeah, you're right. That Paul messed up, didn't he? I didn't know that. So indeed, eating the flesh at night, you know, he said, take, eat, this is my body. And in Luke 24, it says specifically that they did what? They sat down and they broke bread. Is not what it says? And then they what? Their eyes was open, and then he did what? He disappeared. And what did he tell you in John chapter 6? That he was the manna that came down from heaven. And he would give his flesh to eat. They said, how can this man give us flesh to eat? And that's when he told you the words that I speak unto you. They are ruach and they are life. See, and this is still going back to the initial thing, which is to buy the truth, acquire and possess the truth. Matter of fact, let me ask you this question here, right? I'm trying to recall. Okay, I remember where it's at. Who can recall off the top of their head? It's obscure, but it's just gonna show. If the word written on your inward part, when the statement said, "Go to them that sell," who said, "Go to them that sell"? Who made that statement? Said, "Go to them that sell." See, if I say the rest of it around it, then it make it too easy. Now, he ain't the one who said it. It's in the gospel. He said it, but he wasn't referring to himself specifically, but he did say that. He's the one who uttered the words.
And what you asked?
Where is it at? Who knows what it is? He said, go to them that sell. Well, he was speaking, he was telling the story. So he was referring to somebody else who said it, but he's the one who actually told the story.
Right. So who was he talking about to go get the seal? All I was thinking about is when he was saying,
anyone y'all on here, y'all can answer too. Now. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. Got that nigga on like he finna go on somebody yacht. That nigga ain't going on nobody yacht. That nigga finna get on tricycle.
Mark, come over here and sit down.
Hey, that nigga going on the yacht. I want to know who he knows.
Hey.
I need to be friends with that. Baby's going on the yacht. Shoot. I need to be friends with him. That nigga know me.
Was it Matthew that said it?
That gotta be specific.
Matthew, he said
I thought
it was
that
about
was a verse.
he was telling a parable about the bridegroom.
That's it. Let's go Matthew 25.
He was saying if you don't get there, they gonna shut the door.
No, that's where No, that's what the virgin said to the mother hole.
Yeah.
You need to go to them that sell.
That was when they didn't have no clothes.
Let me get some of that oil.
You got to go to them that sell. You ain't got none. You need to go to them that sell. 25 and 1. Matthew 25 and 1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins which took their lamps and went forth to the bridegroom. Now also you got to realize that this is also an example of somebody being examined, tested, and tried. They got put to the proof where their heart was at. Let's see how. 5 of them were wise. Remember it tell you to buy the truth and sell it not. And what else should you also acquire and possess? I already read the verse, though.
Wisdom, instruction,
and understanding. So you can see that these wise women had to purchase them a little wisdom. He say 5 of them were wise, 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. What you think this mean when he say that they sat back and he say they all slumbered and slept? They were just awaiting their return right into how they sleep, right? Now, you know when, no, don't start. It's not going to end well for you. I'm trying to say from any manner of
They don't sleep like they sleep at night. Don't sleep.
yeah, those are the day. Those that are the night sleep and slumber. He also told you, awake you that sleep, because the Mashiach could give you light. Because a lot of times you sleeping, and also they're showing you something too, right? He said at midnight there was a cry, and behold, the bridegroom come, go you out to meet him. Then those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. Now, how does that pertain to the resurrection of the dead? Who knows how this can pertain to the resurrection of the dead? Let's see. Huh?
That's going we say it's gonna be a trump. Shout.
I'll give you that. It's more to it than that, though.
That's what I think when you say right.
That part is correct. But then there's more to it than that. It's still more. Let's take a look. Daniel chapter 12. Yeah, that part is correct.
Eat them. Don't pour them out. Don't pour them out. Eat them. Stop playing with it. You're not gonna eat it. Don't eat them.
Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time, Michael shall stand up, the great prince will stand for the children of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as was never since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, your people shall be delivered, every one that is found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to everlasting shame and contempt. So you have 5 women who got up who were wise, and you have 5 women who got up who were foolish. These women are representative. Said one of them didn't have no oil in their lamps. So if they didn't have no oil in their lamps, what did they not possess? They didn't possess the ruach would give them life. What does it say in the book of Revelation about the resurrection of the dead? You have what resurrection? The first resurrection, upon which the second death had no power. These women got up. They wasn't getting up for no first resurrection. They getting up for the second. Let's see how. Verse 7. Then all these virgins arose and trimmed their lamps, and the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil for our lamps. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. Go acquire and possess that. See, that's what a lot of people's problem is. You trying to piggyback and ride off the faith of another individual. That individual's faith ain't gonna get you no ruach, ain't gonna get you no oil. See, hold on. Let me try to remember this here. Right? And in one of the epistle letters, Paul makes a statement of, let everybody work out their own faith, salvation with fear and trembling. See, you know, just like this here, right? It's what I was telling y'all the other day, right?
Can I say that?
You walking in righteousness ain't got nothing to do with saving her. Ain't got nothing to do with it. Because you ain't enough, or you can't take the oil out your lamp and give it to her. She can't take the oil out her lamp and give it to you. And you ain't got no oil, you just out of gas. See, a lot of people feel like, a lot of groups feel like if certain people do certain things, that's going to save everybody. It will not. How do we know this? Who can you ever see in the text faith save somebody else other than saving the people from being crashed? You know what I'm saying? One individual's faith can't save another's. If that's the case, then shoot, nobody would have died in the wilderness. Everybody would have lived because Moses had enough faith for everybody. Yahushua, son of Nun, and Caleb had enough faith for everybody if we follow that line of thinking. Then nobody would have died when Phineas came through with that spear and with the stabbing dudes in the side. You got to understand, let me read that again, right? The wise answer saying, not so. Lest there be not enough for us and you, but go rather to them that sell and buy for yourself. So you came around here, you can't get somebody else's faith. You can't get their wisdom. You can't get their discipline and correction, and you can't get their understanding. You got to go get that for yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's why the biggest thing that I see in most sport, a lot of bruises, ain't nothing wrong with it. You know, people should get married, but you pushing people to get married that don't even possess the slightest bit of knowledge, the slightest bit of wisdom, the slightest bit of understanding. So all you're going to do is have people crash and burn because you thinking because you got it, I can give it to my wife. No, you can't give it to her. Not if that's what she don't want that. She got to want that for herself. It can't have nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta want that for yourself. You just can't get with a woman be like, oh, she in the word, so that is what I want to do. Because that's retarded and that's dumb. You're not doing it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're doing it for a mate. You know what I'm saying? And in theory, it sounds real good. You know, you want to have a nation of people that are married. The children get to see married couples and functional marriages. At the same token, you also want to save your soul. Because I don't want to be married enough to go to hell. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be married enough to go to hell. Shoot, I don't want to be single. I don't want to go to hell, period, in no shape, form, or fashion. And no single solitary life situation that could occur and arise. And we not think about that first. You think about stuff naturally. But you got to make sure that you buying for yourself. Because, see, you could go to them that sale and get it for yourself. If he stay back, it's not like going to the store and say, I'm going to get a 12-piece and you can share it with him. You know what I'm saying? You can't share no ruach with him. He got to get that on his own. And vice versa. Let's continue. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with them to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterwards came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. But he answered and said, Truly I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man comes. So you notice, right? They went to go try to get some word, and by the time they got it to come back, it was too late. See, you can walk around. Man, I just seen a brother I know just passed away last week. Ain't even know he was dead, man. You know, bro, for a little minute. Yeah, cool nigga, man. Wasn't probably not too much older than me. He been in the word for years. You know what I'm saying? Just like this here, gone. You got to be ready because you don't never know when that day or hour ain't also just dealing with him returning. That day or hour also could be dealing with when it's time for you to hit that grave. You know what I'm talking about? And hit that grave without some oil in your lamp. And does that, you notice how he switched that up? You thought he was just talking about somebody. He said, man, what you knocking on my door for, bro? I don't know you. You remember what he said in the other statement? Depart from me, you work of iniquity. I never knew you. We already talked about that not too long ago. If he don't know you, that means your name you ain't got no reservations. Your name's not in the book. And if your name ain't in the book, it's for one reason and one reason alone. Malachi 3:16. I'll pick it up at verse 13, though. Malachi 3:13. Yeah. Hey, little man. Yeah, get your cup out the floor, man. You put your Oreo wrapper in the trash. I know your mammy ate it, but it's okay. Malachi 3:13. Your words have been stout against me, saying Yahuwah. Yeah, you say, what have we spoken so much against you? You have said it is vain to serve Elohim. You see that statement right there? That's an example of calling. Hey, be careful what you're doing. Gotta focus. You ain't did nothing wrong. You just gotta focus. Just give me and let you know. Don't go ran head first to that laptop. You was gonna cry. When they say it's vain to serve, how many people have never said that to y'all, that it's worthless for you to serve Elohim, and what profit is due that you kept his ordinance? Like, what gain have you gotten because you keeping the words? Anyone ever asked you that type of statement? You probably have. It's probably indirectly, probably a little passive aggressive. Because people do ask that. They're like, what you getting out of this? Especially when you look at people who feel like you're supposed to get some type of monetary gain. It's funny that I done said this before, it's funny that the only time people ever say Yah bless them is when they get something material that they can show off to other people. Blessed and going to hell. You know what I'm saying? We walk around here and say you blessed and highly favored. Favored to go to hell is what you're favored for. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only thing that you look. I did this a long time ago because it was very simplistic thing to put together. But if you was to actually take the time and look at all the things the text says an individual is blessed for, material gain is never mentioned. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the individuals who's played out, there was individuals that he blessed with material gain, but you never seen them boast in it. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had a lot of loot. You ain't see them walk around, I'm blessed. Y'all gave me all this cattle, all this silver and gold. Really, that's all that's representative of your own heart. Now, really, how you feel, see, you really covetous. See, that's how the Pharisees were. That's why when Yahushua would have talking like that, they were getting mad. That's why I'm telling you last night, when you talking about certain stuff and it's contrary to what people own, that's when they get offended because that's what they own. And they mad that you talking about that. You know what I'm saying? A homosexual ain't never going to be mad about you talking about adultery. Till you start talking about homosexuality, now all of a sudden he upset. The same way an adulterer is not going to be mad if you talking about homosexuality till you talking about being unfaithful and disloyal. Now he got an issue with the conversation because now you talking about what he owns. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never seen nobody who don't smoke rocks get offended at nobody talking about that these doggone weed heads. They don't care nothing about that. Go to talking about cocaine or lean or popping pills. Niggas who do it start to get offended. What you mean, bro? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Oh, because you're a little junkie. So you really want somebody to justify yourself. It ain't no difference when in these days of time, I'll give you a better example. These days of times, if a man say if a woman wouldn't dress like a whore, she wouldn't get a particular type of attention. And the first thing they say, well, men know how to contain it. See, that's not the point. See, the point is, you cut and your feelings hurt because you look like a whore. You're garnering the wrong type of attention because the individual say, hey, maybe if you covered yourself up, you wouldn't get that type of attention. Now you offended. I remember years ago, I read that story about Fantasia. That's what her daddy did when she got raped. He said, I told you to stop dressing like a slut. That's what happens. Rough statement, but that's what he said. He said, I had told her numerous times, stop looking like a whore. This is what could happen. She got raped, and the nigga ain't had no sympathy. Not damn tap. But guess what, though? As harsh as that is, it's using the situation of rape because that's a very traumatic experience. That's how y'all feel when he keep telling you don't do certain stuff, and then it happened to you. He ain't got no sympathy. He don't want to talk. You know what I'm saying? He don't want to hear your cries because I had already warned you and told you not to do that. Now it doesn't happen. Now you want me to feel sorry for you. You know what I'm talking about? You have to look at it that way. That's how he operates. Don't say it's different if you didn't know and it happened to you. He gonna have some sympathy. But when you knew and you went and did it anyway, and then the negative consequence happens, and then you run to me, Daddy. He like this, man, I don't care, cuz. What I got to do with me? Because I hadn't already told you. See, that's harsh. That sounds harsh to you, right? Especially when using Fantasia Daddy example. That sounds real harsh. But Yahuwah operate in the same fashion. How would you think, let's put it this way, right? Y'all seen they said they bombed some churches in Sri Lanka on Ishtar last week? Y'all seen that? Now imagine if you say you was a servant of Yah and you was sitting in there with him. You think he would have felt sorry for you if you would have been burned and talking about, Father, put this fire out on my body? Because I had already told you not to go in and do stuff like this. And then you went and did it, and because something happened to you, you want me to feel sorry for you. If you told your children don't put your hand on the stove and they went and threw their hand on the stove, would you feel sorry for them when they were screaming to you, running, talking about their hand were burning? And you had already told them 7, 8, 9, 10 times, don't put your hand on the stove? I ain't got no compassion for you because you're hard-headed. You know what I'm saying? You're stubborn. You want to do what you want to do. And that's how you look at it. See, the thing is that you got to realize, right, is you can't do, regardless if you feel like you can or can't do something, there's consequences for everything that you do. So if you come out with your booty cheeks hanging out and your titties hanging out, then be prepared for niggas to oogle and google at you and say inappropriate things to you because you have on a whore's uniform. You're gallivanting like a whore, moving like a whore. So why would any man of honor and respect treat you any other way than the whore that you're representing yourself as? And what do most of our women say? Well, I got a degree. That nigga don't care nothing about you got no degree because you got your titties out. But a lot of women say that I got this good job, I got a degree. You should look at me at respect. But all he sees is a street walk. You know what I'm saying? Because you're denoting academic or career achievements with respect, and not denoting that respect is how you carry and conduct yourself and present yourself to the world. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not gonna respect you because you got a degree. Why does that gender respect? Because you got a degree. So what? You know what I'm saying? Some of the most richest people in the world ain't got no degree. So that's not going to gender respect from anybody because you have that. Oh, I'm the CEO at this company. I do. Why does that automatically garner you respect? So that also lets me know that that individual is only going to respect people according to the accomplishments that they have. If they don't feel like their accomplishments are commensurate with what they feel like is respectable, then you're not going to respect them. Hey, sit down, little squirrely head boy. Look at to your mama. Sit on down. Malachi 3 and 14. Sit on down. Here. Place your bottom here. You have said it is vain to serve Elohim. What profit is we that we kept his ordinance and that we have walked mournfully before Yahuwah of hosts? And now we call the proud blessed. And yea, they that work wickedness are set up. Yea, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. Let's see what word we got for tempt here. Because now he's saying people who try y'all get saved. Well, thank you for telling me. Now we got pecan for tempt here. That's the same word that we use in what that was? Jeremiah 17. So when they tempted Elohim in the wilderness, were there people delivered in that instance? The people who tempt Elohim, were they delivered? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We already mentioned that there. When they tempted him for the quails, what did he do? Let's look at it. Now, he just overfeed them. Come on here to Numbers 11. He did more than overfeed them. We come out to Malachi. He did more than overfeed them. He did way more than that. He had a good old time with the wicked Baptists. Numbers chapter 11.
Mark.
What? That's yours? You're welcome, sir. Numbers chapter 11, about verse 18. And say unto the people, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. And you shall eat flesh, for you have wept in the ears of Yahuwah, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well with us in Mizraim. Therefore Yahuwah will give you flesh, and you shall eat. Do y'all remember what they said in Israel when they were crying about them flesh? Do y'all remember what they said they had in Egypt to eat? Yeah, cucumbers, leeks, and melons. Niggas said we had pickles and melons. He said, you shall not eat 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days, but even a whole month, until it come out your nostrils, and it be loathsome unto you. Because you have despised Yahuwah, which is among you, and have wept before him, saying, why came we forth out of Mizraim? Moses said, the people among who I am are 600,000 footmen, and you said, I will give them flesh that they may eat a whole month. He said, that's a whole lot of flesh, man. Shall the flocks and the herds be slain for them to suffice for them? Or shall all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them to suffice them? Yahuwah said unto Moses, is Yahuwah's hand waxed short? You shall see whether my word shall come to pass unto you or not. See, now he was a little perturbed with him like this. So you gonna see. You gonna see. Don't you worry about it. Moses went out and told the people the words of Yahuwah and gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people and set them round about the tabernacle. Yahuwah came down in the cloud and spake unto them and took of the ruach that was upon us. I'm gonna drop down. We're gonna read all that. About verse 31. And therefore went forth a wind from Yahuwah and brought quails from the sea and let them fall by the camp. As it were a day journey on this side, as it were a day journey on the other side. Round about the camp as it were 2 cubits high upon the face of the earth. And the people stood up all that day and all that night and all the next day and gathered the quails. He gathered the least, gathered 10 homers, and they spread them all abroad for themselves around about the camp. And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of Yahuwah was kindled against the people, and Yahuwah smote the people with a very great plague. And he called the name of that place Kiribath Hatava, because they buried the people that lusted. So why was they tempting Yahuwah in this instance? Just to fulfill their lust. So they had to try. They found out he was a living Elohim that day, did they not? They definitely found out. And they didn't find out because he gave them the quails. They found out because he killed them while they were chewing it. That lets you know, find you somebody to play with. That's what he really let you know. Find you somebody to play with. But let's take a back look at Jeremiah 17 for that word for try. We'll get you Jeremiah 17. Let's finish this Malachi chapter 3. I don't know if we're holding anything up. Oh, thanks. Malachi 3 and 15. And now you call the proud happy, and yea, they that work wickedness are set up, and yea, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. Then they that feared Yahuwah spake often one to another, and Yahuwah hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before them that feared Yahuwah and thought upon his name. So their names got written in this book because they feared Yahuwah and they thought upon his name. Let's see the word for thought. Now the word for thought is kashab, right? And it's for you to think and also to plan to make a judgment, a plan, a device to esteem, to value, and regard. To be esteemed. So these individuals esteemed his name. They feared him and they esteemed his name. Come on back to Jeremiah chapter 17. 17, judgment. 17 and 9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who could know it? How many of y'all feel like your heart has deceived you on a regular basis? More often than you probably should have allowed it to. Because I'm not going to ask the asinine question that who's been deceived by their heart, because everyone in here has. And if you say you haven't, you're a bold-faced lie and ought to go straight to the pits of hell. Looking before heaven and telling that bold-faced lie. Because this man just said the heart is deceitfully wicked above all things. So if he said it's deceitfully wicked, then you know full well it's deceitful above all things. You know full well you've been deceived by it. How many of y'all feel like you let your heart deceive you more often than you should have? You feel like you let your heart deceive you more often than you should have? I didn't talk about no more or currently. You talking about your course of life. You act like you're 45. Nigga, you ain't but 23 and a half. Roll your eyes one more time. I'll throw a stick all over there. I didn't say anymore. I said, do you feel that? Okay, I'm gonna say, what that is? What you got going on over there? You not feeding that boy. You strangling him. That nigga can't breathe. At first, I thought this nigga grew another breast. That wasn't right. What about you, Stella? You felt like your heart deceived you more often than you should let it. Did you know your heart was deceiving you, but you rolled with it anyway? What about you? When you did you know your heart was deceiving you, but you went with it anyway? What about you, Monte? You felt like you let your heart deceive you more often than you should have. What about you? Did you know your heart was deceiving you? You went with it anyhow.
I did it for a while.
How you felt about it after it was over? I'm talking about in the moment. When you realize, oh, that was. Did you feel like you felt like you needed to stick a quarter in your butt? No, that's a line. This comedian say stick a quarter in you because you played yourself. That's that nigga line on this little skit he had. Huh? Like if somebody will do something, it'd be like, they said that's her ex-boyfriend, they live together. They said they're just roommates. And he said, you believed it? So I bet if you go over there right now, they're gonna be in there having sex. No, then he goes over there, he sees they're having sex, and then he pops up out of nowhere and says, stick a quarter in your butt. Because you played yourself. And then I mean, he does it for women and men. It's just
arcade.
Yeah, like an arcade. Cause back in the day, you know, you slide the quarters in the thing. So, yeah. What about you, Nick? What about you, Shay? For both? Yeah, so you feel. No, I'm talking about not if you felt played after, but you knew that your heart was deceiving you, but you went along with it anyway. Cause see that'd be the one that hurts the most when you're aware that you're being deceived.
Then when I finish, you stupid.
What about you, Lee? You felt like you let your heart deceive you more than you should have? Have you ever let your heart, did you know your heart was deceiving you, but you went with it anyway? What about you, love? What about you, Alicia? Huh? Did you know your heart was being deceived, but you went with it anyway? What about you, Dennis? What about you, Mom? You knew you were being deceived, but you went with it anyway? How you felt after? What about you, sir? And what about you? Now everybody knows. See the. I mean, no. He's talking about. I mean, of course, you don't let your heart deceive you by making. I mean, shoot, nigga would deceive like let's say a rock. But it's forfeit. But you mean that is deceitful because you deceiving yourself to say that I can make some money and not get killed or incarcerated. It is what you're talking about. It's anything, period. That is deceitful because you're thinking you can do something and not get in trouble for it and get away with it, committing crimes. You know that's a part of it. It's a part of it.
You was asking, did you do something that you knew that it was gonna end bad, but you did it anyway? You were deceived.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the question.
I'm trying to figure out.
That was your example. He knew what the consequences was, and the consequences happened, but he did it anyway. He was deceived.
Like dealing with people, like at least for me, a person can't deceive me because you can only do what I allow you to do. No, we're talking about no. That's just what your mind went to. We're talking about life, period. Because he didn't say the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked is forfeit romantic situation. It's way more to life than romantic situations. You know what I'm saying? Way more than life. It's people who done just been deceived and all manner of fashion. They ain't had nothing to do with no romance.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking
I was thinking about life. I was thinking life, period. You know what I'm saying? Period. It's situations you might have been deceived. Look at, man, I done seen people get deceived because they thought a nigga was their friend. Nigga put bullets in their head. You know what I'm saying?
nigga had to show them different.
Show them.
Still rock with them.
No, dang how you really is.
Yeah, your heart telling you don't.
Yeah.
He just was tripping that day.
Yeah.
Nah, nigga.
Nah, he don't
several times.
he don't fool with you like that.
He
You
really
know
don't.
what I'm saying? He don't fool with you like that.
Yeah, that's how
First man, look here. Hard to see like this here, right? That day I caught that first sale, my mind telling me, go on to the house, man. This dude steady calling. Like, man, I ain't even got no business going around here serving this nigga. You know what I'm saying? I got 100. I wouldn't care if you had 1,000. I don't even want your money. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm just going so the phone will stop ringing because he'll stop calling.
Your heart telling you things to go against what you know.
Yeah, your heart will deceive you, man. Your heart will tell you that ain't a bad decision.
You're not really gonna go to jail.
You know what I'm saying? Your mama really ain't gonna beat you.
Yeah. That's the point. You always know. That's why the heart deceitful.
That's why I deceive you.
Everything about the situation telling you what it is, but your heart is deceiving you.
No, you can't be just because 9 times out of 10, when you get deceived, you know.
Yeah.
You
nine
know.
times it is a lot more than often though.
Very few times are people deceived out of ignorance. You knew full well what the right choice was to make. You made the choice according to your own heart and your own desire.
Not no baby.
That's the point. That's why I say your heart is deceitful above all things.
She's sitting down right there. You need to sit right there by yourself. You're not a baby.
No, it said Eve was deceived, right? She knew.
But take that away, like a lot of, and we were just talking about this. A lot of niggas in the word, a lot of niggas that deal with it, they don't know, bro. They don't know. They eventually find out, but a lot of times, both of the time, they don't know off the humbug. Niggas think what they doing be right.
At the same token, though, they don't know the gravity, but them niggas be knowing the stuff they doing ain't right.
Nah, on the individual level, like
niggas know the stuff they
isolated
doing ain't right.
situation stuff they
Niggas
be
know
doing,
that stuff
but like
ain't
as
right.
a whole, niggas feel like they be doing the right thing.
Niggas know they ain't right. Niggas know they ain't right. You got niggas who be in the word feel like, oh, we ain't got to get no paperwork. I can smash and crash. Nigga know he wrong. So they come up. You know how niggas know they wrong? Because a nigga have a laundry list of justifications for what they doing. When you sit out a laundry list of justifications, you already know you wrong. And your heart is deceiving you because that's why we don't need no marriage. You don't need the state to be in your marriage. You know what I'm talking about? We did this and all. You coming up with something because you know down in the seat of your soul, you wrong. You know what I'm saying? And fourth is your heart letting people play you. 9 times out of 10, you already knew what time it was when you was dealing with that individual. Regardless of what, it could be business, it could be romantic. You already know that. You just choose to ignore. Like people be like, oh, my husband crazy. That nigga was crazy before you married him, and you knew he was crazy. You know what I'm saying? You just decided to let your heart deceive you because you were so in love, you turned your head to it. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, this woman don't do this and she don't do that. She was not doing that before you married her. I done seen dudes say that, bro, she changed. Man, that hoe ain't changed, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You just wasn't paying attention to that raggedy hoe. Now you mad because you got to live with her every day. You don't want to divorce her because you're going to be broke when you do it. But you got to sit back and look at that. And this is why you got to have the word in your heart, because the word is the truth, or it's faith, it's sound, it's reliable, it's firm. The word will not deceive you. The word will not direct you to go do something that is incorrect. That's why Abraham had the word on his heart. That's why he had no fear about going to offer Isaac when he was tried, because that's what was in it, was the word. See, when you don't have the word in you, then you'll do what Eve did. It is a tree that look good to the eyes. That temptation of that, she examined it, now she want to prove it to see if it's so. When she ate it and then they didn't realize that nothing happened, she felt like nothing occurred. But in reality, she was dead. But let's go back over here to Jeremiah 17. I'll pick it up at 17 and 5 though. That's why in Proverbs it says, "So a man thinks, so is he." You know what I'm saying? You think carnal, you gonna be carnal. You think spiritual, you'll be spiritual. That's why you have to purchase or acquire the truth. That's why he told you go to them that sell. That's why Malachi say, and the priest lips should keep knowledge, because the people seek the Torah at his mouth, because you going to them that sell. So if you want to acquire faith, you have to go to the individuals who sell it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was telling you last night. A lot of people who teach the word, they not selling that. 17:5, thus saith Yahuwah, cursed be the man that trust in man and make flesh his arm, whose heart depart from Yahuwah. I seen somebody say this today, right? And it's a true story. And see, this is showing you how our people trying to make flesh our arm now. When they came up out of Egypt, was it by their own strength? When they went in the land, did they get that by their own arm? See, that's what a lot of our people feel like now, right? That we got to leave and it's going to be by our strength. And that we can get land by our arm. But see, that's why he told you that these are children in whom have no faith. You don't really believe in Yahuwah like that. You don't trust in him like that. So when you're faced with these situations, you're going to rely on flesh. You're going to rely on yourself. You're not going to rely on him. Nevertheless, for he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good comes, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in the salt land, and not inhabit it. Blessed is the man that trusts in Yahuwah, whose hope Yahuwah is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and spread out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat comes, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? He said not only is it deceitful, it's desperately wicked. Now, why would y'all think that Yah would tell you your heart is desperately wicked? Knowing your own heart, would you say that's a fair assessment?
Just flesh.
Not just a flesh. I'm asking you, knowing your own heart, would you say that's a fair assessment? Now, the word for desperately wicked is something that is weak, that is sick, that is frail, that is uncurable, and is to be sick, and that is woeful. So he say, really, when he say that heart is desperately wicked, he say your heart is deceitfully sick. So your heart is deceitfully sick. And the word for deceitful is not only deceitful, but sly and insidious. Do y'all know the definition for the word insidious? I guess. I'm not a real big movie guy. Yes, it was a movie. I'm going to give you the full definition of it. It is proceeding in a gradual and subtle way with harmful effects. Some of the definite synonyms for it are stealthy, subtle, sneaking, cunning, crafty, Machiavellian, deceitful and slick, tricky, sly, wily, guileful, deceptive, dishonest, underhand, backhanded, and indirect. Y'all familiar? You familiar with me? Who in here is not familiar with Nikolai Machiavelli? You know who Nikolai Machiavelli is? Oh, he was beyond faking his death. Then you don't know Nikolai Machiavelli.
That's crazy how words, his name could become a, you know, a word like that.
Yeah, but insidious. You don't know who Machiavelli is? You know who Machiavelli is? You know who he is? Nikolai Machiavelli was a gentleman who was a part of the Italian government at times, worked with kings. Only people only mention him for faking his death because Pop named his album after himself after this nigga. But that nigga was way more crafty and subtle and slick than faking his death. You know what I'm saying? That man had more power in any place of parliament that he conducted in than the people who actually were in positions above him. He was a very, very duplicitous, sneaky, deceitful, wicked bastard.
They turned on the government.
I can't recall, but yeah, he said he's faked his death or whatever the case may be, but he's more so known of getting and maintaining power and navigating in that system, and he used means of deceit to maintain his power and his control. That's why the term Machiavellian is synonymous with being a liar.
He
Being
wrote a book where they outcast. They try to get back in with the king.
Mm-hmm. I read The Prince before. That nigga's ill. You know what I'm saying? That nigga was ill. But notice that the words that they use, that the heart is desperately wicked above all things, and then the synonyms take you right back to who? The adversary, because he was more subtle than any beast of the field. But you know what I'm saying? But look at this here, right? It said the heart, that meaning that your heart is slyly sick. You know your heart's sick. Every person in this room know their heart's sick. You know some of the sick stuff used to come through your head. Ain't nobody gonna know. Ain't nobody gonna find out. Every person in here, it may not be sick on the level that some people operate in being sick in the head. You know what I'm talking about? Because some people sick in the head. Some murderers, like they say, I heard the dude say, I knew Sammy the Bull. Y'all know who Sammy the Bull is? Sammy the Bull was John Gotti's enforcer. This man admitted to killing 19 people for sport. Well, not necessarily for sport, but it was sport for him. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how sick and depraved of a mind that you have to have? And he only admitted to 19 homicides. Ain't no telling how many people he actually killed. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think of somebody who we confirmed for being a sick bastard. What was that dude? Oh, that cracker Ted Bundy was one sick bastard. But see, that's on a whole nother level. But then y'all know people who got sick minds just by the way they operate and how they do things. You know how sick of a mind that you have to be to befriend somebody and then slander them? You know what I'm saying? And turn people against them? All because they no longer serve your means? He was based off a real person, but he was not a real person. Yeah, they got sick minds. They definitely have sick minds. But see, those are extreme examples. But y'all know real sick people whose minds and hearts are sick. You know how sick your mind got to be to sit back and plot on another person's husband, on another person's wife? But hold on, like I said, you know how sick your mind got to be friends with somebody and then slander and destroy their reputation just to serve your own selfish means? You know how sick of a mind you got to have to sit there? Because you have to sit there and think that out and plot that out in your brain that this is what you're gonna go do. That's sick. That's not a regular heart. A righteous heart doesn't think in that fashion. And I'm mentioning that because what did Judas sit around there and do? What the scribes and Pharisees were doing? They were concocting scenarios in their head of what they could do to kill this man. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a sick and depraved mind to even do that. Because who sits around all day thinking like that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Absalom definitely. That's an example of a deceitful heart, because he was going out with the intent to do what? Deceive other people's hearts. And that man did that for 40 years. So you know how sick your mind got to be to put up a line of deceit for 4 decades? See, we don't see it that way because you want to sit back. Look here, man. Once you show me certain stuff that's in your character, you may amend it, but I'll never trust you though. You know what I'm saying? You could admit it. I can't never say what nobody can't correct or won't correct, but that don't mean I got to trust you though. Not as far as me and you personally, because you're sick. You know what I'm talking about? Prayerfully, the Lord has cured you of your sickness. See, that's what the gospel's supposed to do, cure you of your sickness. But come on back, where was that, man? Yeah, I just read 10. So. Let's begin the process of dealing with about purchasing and acquiring a little bit of faith. Now I got some people in my brain, but who can you think of that acquired some faith? When it acquired. It could be anywhere in the text. It ain't got to be no specific location. Who went and acquired some faith? Went to them that sell and went and bought. Which Mary?
When he was like,
Go sit down.
when the other man was tripping about her trying to not serve him.
Okay, you talking about Lazarus' sister? Well, he was going to Damascus for another reason, and then that's when he met him. And that's when y'all shined it, when Yahushua shined his light on.
Remember he said go to the priest so he can open his eyes? When like him.
Well, he was telling him to go to him to open his eye. Then he told him to get baptized. Ethiopian dude and Philip. I wasn't a woman. I was definitely a man. Definitely a eunuch. So I guess a woman's technically a eunuch. But she's got an Indian, not an outie.
What about Jacob?
Who he went to go acquire.
When he got his birthright. Bought that.
Yeah, but it said acquire the truth, acquire faith. Truth is a mod. So he didn't get that when he got that birthright. Anybody else can take it somebody who did it? He don't need no proof, man. He already on 10. Just gave him liquid cocaine.
Samuel.
Now Samuel was a little boy. He was sanctified to Yah from the womb.
Ruth when she was with,
Ruth went to them that buy. Can you take it somebody who went and bought some faith? Went and inquired, went to them that sell. Rahab? Yeah. No, they came up on her.
she ain't have to go though.
Yeah, but she had already had it before they came. Because she told her mama hide you. She said, I heard about y'all. I don't know who she got. I don't know who she heard it from.
That's why I don't know. That's why I said she had to go to him, because ain't nobody happy but them. So.
No, they just heard what happened in Egypt. She heard what happened in Egypt. So she was like, shoot, I'm getting down with y'all.
She had to inquire though.
She necessarily had to inquire. That fame would know. You know how niggas be like to say, how come ain't no other ancient civilization? Like a nigga gonna write down, yeah, man, these niggas got flooded out and killed out. But no, she said when they came to her house, she said, I heard about y'all.
That nigga had to pop her off right there. He probably popped off right there.
Shoot, she popped them off. She ran the whole story down. To a degree, but not all the way though. Because he still ain't had no faith, because he had faith, he would let him go. Because they ain't really come at it with no word. He was questioning the Lord, and he was like, man, I don't want nothing to do with this dude. Now, like Martha is an example, because Martha went looking for that.
What about Pharaoh?
But see, he had the dream already, and he was looking for somebody to interpret. Somebody who went to buy or possess or acquire faith or truth. Went to the individuals who have it to go there for themselves to acquire it. He mentioned Mary, which is the
To learn the faith or to go?
you know, they say buy the truth, right? That word buy is kanat, means to acquire or to possess. So you got to look at somebody who went to go acquire and possess the truth.
It's like who sought out.
You got to seek that out. You can't. You got to seek it in order to purchase it. You got to go seek it out. Like Abraham, he didn't have to seek it out. Y'all came and saw him out. You know what I'm saying? Like with Rahab, they came to her front door and she told them what it was. I'm getting down with y'all. I heard about y'all. You know what I'm saying? Ruth was already with Naomi. She said, I'm not separating myself from you. So she already had it. She already knew it. You know what I'm saying?
What about Joshua? When they put on fake clothes, I like they were coming from a long way.
Oh, but see, them niggas that was just trying not to get killed.
You should say about
About Sarah? But they weren't coming for the faith. They were coming for not to get killed. Basically, you looking for examples of somebody who went and sought Yahuwah on their own accord.
Hey, there ain't gonna be nobody like it.
Go ahead, Sam.
I was gonna ask you, who created Yahusha? Yahusha already had that in him?
He taught it to him. Taught it to him. Father taught his only son. That's why one of the instances why he say train up a child. And Yahushua didn't have to seek that out because you in my household. So you getting that off the top. Do any of your children got to seek out any wisdom from y'all, or do they get it on the strength? I hope they get something on the strength. Other than some Chef Boyardee. You like Chef Boyardee, Steph? You don't like Chef Boyardee, man? Why you don't like Chef Boyardee, man? You must ain't never had no Chef Boyardee. Yeah, because I seen my homegirl. The only reason I met my homegirl posted the original can. You know what I'm saying? They said the original recipe. I was like, wow. I ain't even know that was available for purchase. Don't look like it's of any good. Come over here to Luke though.
Hey, what about the young boy that was in the axe that was in the tree?
Oh, that's it. Now that one there you can go for. That's not an act. That's a Luke. That's the kids. Luke 10:38.
The centurion.
I'll give you that, Kira. The centurion too. Kira said Queen Sheba. She definitely went to inquire. But she didn't go to inquire the truth. She went to inquire something else, which was wisdom.
She still heard her.
Yeah.
Same thing. How would she ever know he had?
But she didn't know. She just see the thing is you're not hearing the information. You hearing about the person. So now you going to the person, then you end up inquiring. Now say like with Rahab, they were coming to spy that out. She had, well, not just her. That whole area had heard what happened in Egypt. She just happened to believe what she heard. So when they came through, she was like, I heard about y'all. I'm rolling with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because I know y'all finna come through and smash this whole city. And if I know he smashed Egypt, I know he's gonna smash Jericho. So I'm going with y'all. I know with Sheba, we'll look at it in a moment. I know with Sheba, they heard about Solomon's wisdom. She wanted to go see for herself. Remember, told you to buy the truth and don't give it away. And also wisdom, discipline, and understanding. Luke 10:38. Then after that, Luke 19. Somebody's gonna get into it. That looks like a foregone. Now it came to pass as they went that he had entered into a certain village. A certain woman named Martha received him into her house. She had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Yahushua's feet and heard his word. But Martha was cumbered about much serving and came to him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she help me. Yahushua answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, you are careful and troubled about many things, but one thing is needful. Mary have chosen that good part which shall not be taken away from her. Now, why would that good part that Mary has chosen not be taken away from her? What is that good part that she has chosen? You mentioned it.
Good news.
She done took part of the faith, right? Remember what that word is for selling not. Let me pull that word back out for selling not. It's makal. It means to sell oneself. So you don't want to sell yourself.
All right.
Now, how can an individual sell their faith? Can you see an individual in the text selling their faith? Let me pull the word out. Hold on. Pause. I do that. Hold on. Judas ain't never had no faith, so he ain't had nothing to sell. But I could see that would be the first inclination somebody would think of, because he sold him out. But you got to have it to sell it.
I would say Saul. That's what I would say.
But did Saul actually have faith to sell? And if he did, can you tell me how and when?
I would say he was prophesying.
Also remember, right, it means sell means to sell, to be sold, to sell oneself, or to be given over to death.
Yeah, that's all.
That's all?
Yeah.
Samson, did Samson sell himself? Yeah, he sold himself.
Yeah, he sold it. He sold it. He sold it out.
He sold himself.
Definitely rationed it right on out.
We'll get back to that in a moment. So we just looked at, to keep that in mind. I wanted to ask you that to be in your brain. So we see Mary chose the best part. She went, and what did she do? She went and acquired faith. which means behind that she's going to acquire what else? Wisdom, discipline. Why do you think that woman came back around there and anointed his head and washed his feet? Nevertheless, Luke 19. See, in the Old Testament, you'll have a little harder time with people going out who were actively seeking it to possess. There were people who did it. Don't get it twisted. But you know, it's more so of him. It's not a lot of direct stories of individuals going out seeking that out. Like David sought that out. He sought that out. And it's more so when you go into acquire truth, it's seeking Yahuwah is what you're really doing. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to go to the person who has it. You know what I'm saying? Luke 19 and 10, I believe. That would help if I was in Luke. That's done. Well, 19 and 1. Luke 19 and 1. Yahusha entered and passed through Jericho, and behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus, which was the chief among the publicans, and he was rich. He saw to see Yahusha who he was, and could not for the press because he was little of stature. He ran before and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was to pass that way. And when Yahusha came to the place, he looked up and saw him, and said unto him, Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, for today I must abide at your house. He made haste and came down and received him joyfully. So I'm going to see the 4 things that's mentioned: truth, wisdom, instruction, and understanding. We're going to see which one in this story that he went and acquired. Zacchaeus stood, he said, and when they saw it, they were all murmuring, saying that he was gone to be a guest with a man that is a sinner. Zacchaeus stood and said unto the Lord, behold, Lord, half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I've taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him fourfold. Yahusha said unto him, this day is salvation come to this house, for as much also as he is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man is come to seek and to save that which was lost. Now, out of those 4 things that were mentioned, truth, wisdom, instruction, and understanding, which of those 4 did he go and acquire in that particular story? And why? For your answer. Why do you choose that when you make your answer? And instruction. Instruction meaning discipline or chastity. So, which ones are represented in that story?
I say true.
You say true? Why so?
Because they say, talking about a false accusation.
Anybody else?
I was gonna say understanding.
Why understanding?
He said he sought to see Yahusha who he was. I guess he wanted to understand who he was.
Anybody else? Well, in verse 8, what does he show here in verse 8 out of those 4 things?
Yes. I don't know, he got to understand of the law, so that's in the law.
So right there's got verse 8 under why, but why is this understanding? Because Job 28:28 tell you to depart from evil. That is understanding. So he's showing why here he sought to acquire, and he was letting him know he acquired that. I gotta understand it, because when this happened, this is what I do. Of course, you know that he acquired and he was seeking to possess faith because he was sitting out here looking for it. But then an instruction, remember, is chastening. Is there any chastening here? Is there any correction here? Verse 10 lets you know it's correction here because he said he said deceive those which is lost. In order to save you, I'm going to have to correct you so that you will know. It doesn't go into great detail, but that verse 10 lets you know that correction was applied because it said beforehand that this man is what? He became to be a guest with a man that is a what? So in order for him to no longer be a sinner, and we know that in verse 9 it says salvation is come to this house. So salvation is come. Remember, he said he didn't came to save the righteous, but to save who? So if he coming to save sinners, then that's where you see that correction is applied. It just don't go into great detail on what that chastisement of correction is, but we can tell that by what is mentioned here. Let's go look at Ecclesiastes.
Publicly, that was just a tax collector, right?
That's just a tax collector.
I'm guessing they was Yahudim.
Most of them was the people hated tax collectors.
They worked for the.
They worked for the Romans.
Yeah.
No, they had job too. Just like you go work for UPS, they work for the Romans. You work for the Romans. Make you wear a toga sometimes. How would you feel if the people told y'all had to wear a toga to work?
No, I don't walk on these type of jobs.
I mean, back then, niggas want stuff like that. Oh, maybe the Romans. I don't know if everybody did. We know the Romans did.
Just saying. Just like the stuff we wear to their culture, it's the same thing.
They could definitely. You know why they wore them togas, right?
That's why I quit.
You know what I'm saying? Just like we do stuff in their culture now.
Say this is a no toga zone, huh? Hey, 1 Kings 10 and 1, y'all.
Either way it go.
Huh?
Either way it go.
If that what you like, that's what you like.
That's what you like. Toga ain't nothing but a nice little sheet. Shoot, you got a lot of niggas walk around here with sheets on. Shoot, they might be worse than sheets now because these niggas wear virtually no clothes.
That wrestling you like. Ain't never little homoerotic.
Shoot, that's it. So is basketball and football.
Yeah, I'm just saying, the stuff you like now, if you like it, you like it.
You know what I'm saying?
Still, there's stuff. We probably would have been on that on our own, but nevertheless, that's what it is. I know we weren't jumping around in no tights talking about play fighting.
You know, tell them.
But that's what the book say we got it from. They start coming around with all that playing.
Them niggas was shoot. Them niggas around there playing too though. Cause them niggas definitely were lined up at their neighbor house.
I'm just saying.
Shoot, got sodomite's off. Shoot, you know the word part is because sometimes that word for sodomite means male temple prostitute. So that means that it were grown men selling booty at the house of Yah for change for dinars and shekels. I just can't fathom that a grown you trying to get in the temple and it's a nigga out here booty for sale, booty for sale. Oh, that's even worse.
You know it was. That's what that junk ain't changed. Them niggas be doing them shit right there for moving for cash. Right at the temple. So
That's it. Not all jokes aside, right? In the law, it says do not bring the price of a dog or a whore into this place. You know what I'm saying? Because them niggas was out there doing that, bro. Like, you got women outside the temple tricking. You got dudes outside the temple tricking. The reason why this being done, what did she throw? You know what I'm saying? But this stuff happens. Why do you think these men and women would be tricking outside the temple? Huh?
When the sons of Eli
No, they would just knock a hole down.
They supposed to be free.
They supposed to be free. But you know why people trick in front of the temple? Because they know you're coming with your money, you're coming with your offerings and your sacrifices.
Offer you a little change of heart. You can take your sacrifice in there, you can get
you know, who going into the temple? Who going to the temple of Yah empty-handed?
They trying to get what you got to get to Yah.
Hey.
they short stop.
Yeah, they trying to get what you trying to get to Yah. It ain't no different than niggas outside the grocery store. You ain't going in there, bro.
They know you ain't got. See,
I know you got some.
See, it's different now because you got most people don't have cash. So why niggas standing out in front of the establishment asking for money in these days and times is just unbelievable to me. Because see, before they be like, man, that nigga got some money. But now, you know, most people don't carry no cash. But get what? In front of that temple, that nigga knew you know you can change that sheep into some money. Give me 3 shekels. I got it. But the worst part is, how sick and depraved did our people have to be if they were male temple prostitutes? That's a whoa. 1 Kings 10 and 1, man.
But that wasn't always at our temple. Some of them guys.
Yeah, some of it was they
guys
God.
was male. You had this. You weren't worshiping him right if you wasn't a dude.
That's
For
true.
real.
Now some of them other nations, they gods, you know, they was free.
It was male only.
Man on man,
Man on man only.
woman
No
on
women.
woman. See, like Ishtar, Ashtaroth, it was more so of a free fall.
That's origin.
What about
That was an
Dagon?
origin.
What about Dagon?
Dagon was a fish god, and he's not necessarily. But I'm talking about because Dagon is synonymous with Neptune and all that there, and they're not necessarily tied to sexual deviance.
Dionysus was though.
Oh, absolutely. And
Dionysus was male only.
And Dionysus is one of the ones who they try to say Yahusha is. That his story is after him. But Dionysus was a
Homo.
Zoroaster.
Booty only cult practice.
Zoroaster. Yeah, they were gay. It was a Roman god, which was based off of Zoroaster, which was somebody else's
12
god.
disciples, male head, male followers, no women, not married.
Yeah, they were gay.
Booty cult.
Yeah, so dead
For
serious.
real,
You gotta look it up.
Yeah.
Zoroaster was on some homo stuff. Just
They
like
taught us that junk in school though.
they definitely do.
They definitely
If you ever took humanities or anything of that nature,
World religions.
they talk about all of that. Because that's where I learned it from.
I ain't never got a masquerade ball.
That's how I learned about it. I remember that junk.
Masquerade ball.
Where you go to school at? Oh, the EWC, y'all around there flaunting around?
Well, they teach how that junk.
They got a masquerade ball.
See, that's why like what I had told you for like with yoga, where I learned yoga at was in humanities class. And what them niggas really do, you know what I'm saying? And then I learned more about it in prison. Like, nigga, that junk ain't just no stretching. Yeah.
I heard
I read about, like I said, like she just said, I took humanities in college. That's exactly what they taught us. I took world religion in college. That's exactly what they taught us. That this is where this stuff come from. Boom, 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 boom. Then we got books in prison, Egyptian yoga, Kundalini yoga, Christian yoga, all that stuff. And
That's what they
explain it.
taught us in
That's a
middle school, 7th grade. I remember. We had to get this book called The Mythology of Edith Hamilton. I still got that book at the house. We had to read that junk in middle school. It had every god in the Greek and Roman pantheon, and we had to learn about all of them. That's
And
how I
they freaky.
remember that.
And they got and the Greek and Roman gods come from other cultures. All they did was take somebody else's god and give him a different name. So they was doing the same. Like, I can't necessarily say off the top of my head that like Kundalini yoga is the same as yoga, but that junk wasn't nothing but some cultic sex stuff. That's all they were doing. Talking about you got to do all this freaky stuff to tap into this chakra and that chakra, and you get the fire in your loin chakra, all that type of stuff. Like, come on, my nigga. No,
Go up your back and get your forehead.
something going up your back, boy, they ain't right. I mean, a nigga going up your back. You got a nigga climbing up your back.
Boy, that's when it began, boy.
It
began right there.
It began with that.
Ever since that road down here, bro.
But check it, all those
I
out.
went started, right?
Like I said, though, this is all the information I read off the road. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody done heard about tantric yoga. You done heard about tantric yoga before, eh? Tantric yoga is sex stuff. That junk based off sex. It can be.
I'm telling you, that boy at now.
But tantric yoga, like it's divisions of it. It's like yoga got denominations in it, just so to speak, like Christianity got. Because you got Kundalini yoga, you got regular yoga, you got tantric yoga. You know what I'm saying? And it's all different. You know what I'm saying? But based on what I done read in my lifetime, nigga, that junk is another god. You know what I'm talking about? Buddhists don't necessarily do yoga. Some Buddhists do, some Hindus do. It just depends, but it's not Buddhist or Hindu centric. See, Buddhists have their own book. It's called the Bhagavad Gita. I read that up the road. You know what I'm saying?
Now when they give up all your work for that.
I think so. I can't remember that.
That bad beat.
I read a lot of stuff on the road. I read a lot of stuff before I went to prison. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in the world religious. I wanted to see what everybody believed.
I was too though.
So I didn't
There's some
want to
stuff
know.
I was just like, man, this don't look right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of art that goes behind it. Like you can look at some of that stuff and be like,
So when the word of Yah came, that's how I knew it was the truth. Like I had told somebody a while back, like, hey, you might not want to read all that type of stuff, man. I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? Because if your faith ain't solid, like, well, you gonna go to fooling with that stuff, man. You know what I'm talking about? I'm dead serious,
especially
bro.
old girl, that Indian, that blue lady and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, that's that blue
When
lady.
I started looking at that, I was like, oh,
That blue lady,
that doesn't look right, but that's Indian.
That's Krishna.
Krishna, yeah, Krishna.
That's Krishna.
That's that Indian stuff.
And then they name for Satan is Shiva.
They
call him the destroyer.
The worst.
Like they worship elephants.
They stuff look the worst, like the most openest, wicked looking.
And they
stuff.
fool, and like I said, in Hindu culture and in Buddhist culture, some of them do participate in yoga, some don't. It's not see the act of yoga is stretching. See, that's what most people want to do in these times is they want to stretch. But the foundation of it, that junk ain't got nothing to do with no stretching. The stretching they were doing something else. You know what I'm saying? The incantation you see of it now, nah, niggas just stretching. But the basis is like
You stretch this one.
Masquerade ball, yeah.
But that masquerade though, that's that French stuff though, ain't it?
I've been telling them they putting on the mask on, they doing the freaky stuff in the room.
yeah, that's what they used to do.
That's that French stuff though.
Yeah, in France they put that on.
French, yeah.
And so when you at the masquerade ball, you don't know if that's a man or a woman. So you slide in the room and you don't like, oh,
And then you ain't gotta worry about the shame of knowing who it was.
that's
You having
French ball.
But that's not what they doing now.
I always say that was
But that's saying though, he talking about what the point is that we engage in stuff and you don't even know the foundation of what you're engaging from comes from. So you could be indirectly participating in something that y'all could be offended at. And you're not even aware because you just look at it as it's a masquerade ball. It's just yoga. Or it's this or it's
That's what I'm
that.
saying. A lot of people don't know. Like
That
isolated
stuff, that
incident
don't
type
know.
stuff, people don't know what they doing no way. And it ain't like they hard to see them, they just don't know where it comes from. And to them it's not wrong. Not that they seeking out to do something like it's presented in front of them, they don't know no background of it, so they do it.
Yeah, the masquerade ball on its face, it's not wrong.
It's like that with yoga. It's like that with
Like
other
yoga
stuff. They don't
on
know
its
what they're
face.
doing. They don't know.
It's not wrong because you stretch it. But then when they talk about downward dog, like why is you in a pose that said it can click in your mind, downward dog? Why is the dog downward? Why would you name it that?
Dog is that.
You know,
Oh, that's nasty.
rear
It's
entry.
nasty. But it's the same thing. Why would they call something? Why do they call a sexual act like that? Like that? 'Cause that's what dogs do. Why are you trying to put that on something that's supposed to be spiritual, right? It's supposed to be, you feel me? Like, why you mixing it? That's supposed to be the flag.
But most people don't. Like I said, though, you want to do something, then you will ignore information that could make you pause and say, I might not want to do it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've told plenty of people before, from what I know, I wouldn't fool with yoga. I've been told you, but I also told you can do whatever you want to do. I ain't fooling with it. I done read enough. I got enough sense. That's them niggas gods, and they can have that. You feel like you need that? Do your thing. Say I don't need no stretching to get closer to you. I don't need none of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't need no crystals. I mean, you can stretch. I mean,
But you don't need, but for what niggas say, you don't need that to lose weight. You don't need that really to do nothing. That's just something you can choose to do. So
no, stretching is good, especially if you lift weights.
You
Stretching
don't have to do yoga to stretch.
No, you don't have to do yoga.
Period. I'm just saying, always an alternative. Like niggas can say I do it to stretch, but you don't have to do that. Several other stretches you can do. Several other things you can do.
Like the name of a lot of folks, tantric people tell you it's not such a thing.
And that's what I'm saying. And if it's some of it, I ain't fooling with none of it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's
But it's a little bit. If it's a little wrong, then it's about wrong. Man.
If it's a little wrong, it's all wrong.
definitely what it said.
Don't take but a little leaven to leave in the whole lump. So guess what? I'm gonna leave that where it's at. Like I said, I don't need no stone. Nigga right here, I need stones to heal. You know, you need y'all to heal, you silly bastard. You can hold them stones and heat them up all you want. Put them on your neck, your back, your kneecap.
Oh, yeah.
You still gonna need some healing. You still gonna need, but see, this is what happens when you're not acquiring and possessing a Mat, Kokma, Musar, and Banach. That's what happens. Meaning truth, wisdom, understanding, and instruction. That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? I've been told you this here, man, and we just see it throughout the text. Y'all ain't never been enough for this people. That's why he said your heart is sick. You're Machiavellian. You know what I'm saying? Your heart sick. Like this here, right? How can we say all help is in Yah, but I need everything else to heal me except for him? Not physical ailments. I'm talking about things that's wrong with me on the inside. There's a chick that I know, man, she be talking about that all the time. She like to say, I think I'm gonna start teaching about chakras. See, you need to heal your heart chakra. I don't need to heal nothing, nigga. But that's how they feel. And whatever you seeing with the word, that stuff niggas starting to intersperse that with the word. You done seen niggas trying to intersperse witchcraft with it. Now you see niggas trying to bring, cause chakras, that's not our stuff. See, I had a book on the road, man, and they were talking about that Yahusha, they was in that Christian yoga, and said Yahusha went to India, and he taught him about all that, and then he came back to Israel and taught us. And niggas believe. And niggas believe. And niggas believe. 1 Kings 10:1, man, about Sheba, man, seeking out the truth. 1 Kings 10:1. That's the sad part, man. Niggas believe it. Y'all believe Yahusha went to India, sat down and talked with a nigga.
But everybody say that.
Oh, nigga done got shot up on the Sabbath in San Diego. Ain't that something? At the synagogue.
Every false religion always try to act like he came and did something. That was the niggas in Egypt be saying, yeah, he went down to Egypt. See, he said he went down to learn.
All of them do
He
it.
learned about this.
Every religion. And it's funny that, right?
They all do that.
Because see, Buddhists, they be like this here, see, he came over to us, and now that's Christ consciousness. So it's funny for somebody who ain't real, all these traditions be trying to grab and claim him, but then some of them will tell you at the same token that it ain't really him, it's really Horus or Zoroaster or this person or this person. That's what they're really trying to do. And that is an example of causing you to doubt the word.
I'm finna say, but that was these guys was about. They show all those religions meaning the same thing.
Oh, I already know.
And if you ain't found it,
I seen it. That's what happened. Watch. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's easy to fall for when you don't know the word.
Yeah, if you don't know, you gonna fall for that.
Because I looked at it like,
Black guys about 10 years old.
You said that all these the same, I might as well keep reading the Bible.
No, they saying you might as well not read it because basically the point of it is it's all many different roads that lead to the same place.
Right.
So it don't matter if you're a Buddhist, it don't matter if you're Hindu, it don't matter if you're Christian, it don't matter if you're Muslim. It's all the same God. It's all the same.
My whole thing was, this is what I was already on. This is what I know about. I'm not going to go read about none of the other things because you're telling me that they all the same thing. That was my.
They ain't telling you to read about it. They telling you to put it down.
So you still put it down with all this stuff already said.
Come on, y'all. 1 Kings 10:1. So check it. 1 Kings 10:1. It says, when Queen Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of Yahuwah, she came to prove him with hard questions. First and foremost, when it says fame, it's the word Shem. So she says she heard the name of Solomon and and concerning the name of Yahuwah. She heard about Solomon and she heard he was down with Yahuwah. When it say to prove, it's that same word Nasah
Right there.
for test. But let's look at hard questions. Hey, Mari, you've been doing good, cuz. Keep it up. That word is kadah. It means a riddle, a difficult question, a parable, an obscure utterance, perplexing questions, double dealing, if you will. And it's Kat, Yad, Dalit, and Hay. But we're not going through all that. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train with camels that bear spices, very much gold, precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions. and there was not anything hid from the king which he told her not. And when the Queen Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom in the house that he built, and the meat of his table, and sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and his cupbearers, and his ascent by which he went up into the house of Yahuwah, there was no more ruach in him. She said to the king, it is true, a true report that I heard in my own land of your acts and of your wisdom. Howbeit I believed not the words until I came and my eyes had seen it. And behold, the half was not told to me. Thy wisdom and prosperity exceed the fame which I had heard. But hold on. Let's see what we got for fame. We're gonna delve. Go ahead. Listen.
I got a question. I was just trying to show what you were saying about Solomon. He was like, if you had the lily of the song, they got dressed up like.
Because she just told you them niggas will fly.
Oh, what she meant by that?
She just did what we just read. The boy will fly. What she just see what it just read right here, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and his cupbearers, and his ascent. She seen how fly them boy was. Say the breath went out alone.
So that's what you were saying about?
No, he was saying if he kept Solomon fresh, you think he gonna keep you close? Now the word for fame in this verse is shemawah, which is report, news, or rumor, or tidings, or mention. Let me read that verse 8 for you. Happy are your men, happy are your servants, which stand continually before you, and hear your wisdom. Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim, which delighted you to set you on the throne of Yasharal, because Yahuwah loved Yasharal forever. Therefore made he you king to do justice and judgment. Now, it's a lot contained in this. She definitely went to seek out his wisdom, right? She went to acquire that. He gave it to her, too. Now, let's look at apparel. That word apparel is mabush. And, of course, you know, it means raiment or attire. So let's turn to the first thing, right? When she seen the wisdom, she seen the meat of his table, the sitting of his servants, the attendance of his ministers, the cupbearers, and there was no more breath in them. What do you think that can tie that into it? Especially when she say, happy are your men and happy are your servants, which stand before you continually.
I think that's like a similitude of how it is in Shaman.
And remember, this is the word. The word blessed here is Eshar. You know, happiness, blessedness, blessed are. Aleph, Sean, and Rosh.
I was saying verse 8, that sounds like, you said, happy are you men, that sounds like a revelation, but it's the stand before white women.
That's what it is. Let's look at the meat of his table. Because see, right, this here, right, she wouldn't even been able to know about this wisdom if she wouldn't have went up there. Let's look at something, right? Revelation 19.
She said she didn't believe it, but
She said, I ain't believe. She said, I heard about it.
I just heard.
She said, my eyes had to come see it. She said, they ain't even told me to have it. Or your wisdom. She said, I had to come see it. Said, I had heard about it. I ain't believe it, though. See, that's what a lot of people happen with the word. That what happened with them 10 virgins. I heard about it. I ain't believe it. What's that? Oh, yeah, that's what they tell you. They tell you that where them songs come from. I'm for real though, because the niggas were claiming Nipsey Hussle related to Haile Selassie. And they say Haile Selassie is from Queen Sheba's line. And Queen Sheba's supposed to be in front of the baby, King Menelik, and all them niggas. They say that's Solomon church.
The Bible said, baby, take the ark. Take it with you.
Take it with you. I got an ark for you.
That's what they say. Yeah,
that's what people teach.
That's what they teach, bro. And the ark is her servants headed in Ethiopia. The ark head.
Yeah, that's what they teach. They teach that Solomon and Sheba had a son.
I heard that. I ain't know about art.
And that king, I can't remember what the name of that son was.
Menelik.
Yeah, Menelik of Ethiopia. Supposed to be their son. And Haile Selassie is from that line. That's why they call him the tribe of Judah. And that's why. And I seen niggas when Nipsey Hussle died, they were like, see, because he related to Selassie, to try to tie him to Solomon in order for the narrative that a nigga will push.
Oh yeah, but them Somalians and Eritreans and Ethiopians, they all the same people though.
You know what I'm saying? That nigga look like a little Selassie. At least his brother do. His brother definitely looked like Selassie. Selassie definitely had a shine.
Them had my
Conquering lion.
They call them.
That's what they call them. That's all the dreads
They
want to
say
sing
that's
about.
that's what the Jews, how the Jews, a lot of them Jews got that.
Because you know you got Jews in Ethiopia. They call them philosophists. They had a book called "We the Black Jews." On the road, I forget the name of the black dude who wrote it. He dead now.
So they say they the only people that ain't had the European ain't conquer Ethiopia. They fought.
We just talked about that.
They did fight a little bit, but they, you know.
Yeah, we already talked about that the other week. Mussolini definitely took it over. Haile Selassie, I definitely went to the UK.
Had no
So
people.
they said so Selassie I started what you call it, I guess the
No, he didn't start.
nothing.
He didn't start nothing. Rasta said he was Christ, and they used him to substitute for Yahusha. They did that on their own. You know what I'm saying?
And they ain't do that in Ethiopia though.
They did that strictly in Jamaica.
Yeah, they did that in America, in Jamaica.
Strictly, and I done read about Rastafarianism too, because my homeboy was into that when we were kids.
I read that too.
It
ain't nothing but Judaism with
Christianity.
With Selassie as Christ. That's it.
And marijuana is a precious sacrament that must be smoked.
You must partake in the herbs.
Everybody at the temple needs to make herbs.
You gotta keep smoking the temple, baby. You gotta keep the train.
Gotta keep smoking in your temple. Can't eat no pork though.
Ain't no pork. Women can't be dressed like no whore. They gotta keep the hair though.
Yeah, they ain't on that.
Gotta walk righteous.
Yeah, they ain't on that.
They own that, but you gotta be greased on it.
Gotta be greedy. That's why they say. That's why you hear the Brews say, "See, Benjamin is the Jamaicans. See, they ain't lose all their identity. See, that's why they still move order according to the text, brother.
They still got the wrong blood, brother. That's Rachel's other sons.
That's niggas really say that. Niggas like I done seen niggas say ain't no homosexuals in Jamaica.
do.
What part of Jamaica you been to? It's plenty of Jamaican punk.
Heck yeah.
Oh
yeah.
But he said he left me because he wasn't punk. He ain't going back either though. Too.
I know it wasn't going back because some of them niggas gonna kill him.
Yeah,
Some of them niggas was gonna
But it ain't
track
like that
him.
no more in Jamaica though. I was reading a documentary on that.
But now you go
West Palm City in Jamaica.
Spanish town no Center City.
Man, look at me. Let me tell you something, right? The whole world is in depravity. The whole world is.
It ain't a clean cut.
Ain't a clean cut nowhere on the earth. Ain't nowhere in the earth where the name of Yahuwah is feared and reverenced. Nowhere. Niggas be like, where can we go? I want to get out of America and go where? You gonna go there somewhere else? You still not gonna be in power. You know what I'm talking about?
Gonna be wicked.
And it's still gonna be wicked. 9 times out of 10, it's a Caucasian somewhere pulling somebody's string till you get to the quote unquote Middle East. And it's a sand nigga who just as wicked as you is. Niggas act like them Arabs don't be. There's plenty of pumps and fornication and adultery going on over there. Them niggas ain't righteous.
Canada got better insurance though.
Nigga, but it's cold.
And it's still wicked.
And it's still wicked. And it's
Wickedly cold.
Like you say, well, you go, they got the better insurance.
Wicked is good.
That's how they feel.
That's that Popeye.
Shoot, nigga, that's Brian Vampire in Brooklyn, nigga. Nigga said the same thing.
It's just taking that, but that's the slogan of the world.
But that's what the words say. Woe to them that call good evil and evil good. And what the world telling you right now, that that's why you got to buy the truth. That's why you got to buy the wisdom. You got to buy the discipline. You got to buy the understanding, because then you'll be able to navigate. Wicked is good. That's what they tell you. Come on, man.
That is. That's the
Wayne son, 11 years old, man. Nigga said it's good to take 11-year-old boy out there to a gay pride parade. He ain't even got enough. How does he even know that he want a man yet?
You know you want a man up.
Clearly. Wayne son. At 11 years old, how he know he want a man?
Say your heart definitely will.
Definitely is, but I don't think it's hard to see him to say he want to be struck or struck.
It is though. And you don't know, that man could have been 5, 6 years old having dreams about somebody being with another man.
And you know the worst part is, what type of sick and wicked environment is this that a 5, 6-year-old boy dreaming about money? Because at 5, 6 years old, I don't think none of y'all were having no sexual thoughts. Not of that nature. You might have been playing house hunting with your friends with your little fast behind. You know you were doing it.
Sure,
you were doing it.
I know I was.
No, you were around here playing house grinding on your friends.
Be hunting.
Yeah, you know you were hunting. Who? I know I was. You know what you were doing.
Straight up. That's why I said be real. But where you get that from? Where do you get the start of hunting?
Lion King.
Nigga wasn't no Lion King in 1985.
I'm about to say, I don't know about the Lion King. Niggas ain't even need a TV.
But you know I got it from? It was the Fat Behind Girl across the street. You know what I'm talking about? Miss Dawson grandchildren. That's where I learned it from. Now, where they learned it from, I don't know.
Somebody hunt you.
Somebody will hunt you. They seen
I
something.
want in.
Because it was their idea.
And I want in.
They was like, you got to come over here and do this. I said, well, very well then. Let's begin.
Look, I want in. Put me in. That is how it be though.
Yeah, you be the Fat Behind Girl. Be the ones putting you on. Look at you. She trying to sit there high. You know you won't let you. You know what he was talking about.
Dawson's baby.
All of them got a gang of children now too. Look at she trying to hide her head like she wasn't. You right in here playing house. Let that boy rub Vaseline on your chest.
Oh no, not that. Oh, I'm just everybody was hunting.
Cause if niggas say you want hunting, you lying. I know you niggas was in here playing house, playing doctor. You wasn't trying to fix no disease.
What? Playing house, playing.
You trying to feel how warm her body feel. Nasty nigga. Revelation 19 and 5.
Right. They was. I know you like my cousin.
Nah, I wasn't hunting on my cousin. A lot of niggas did though.
I know I was.
We were a little too close.
I know I was.
And we were raised together.
Oh no, not my close cousin. That's my close cousin right there.
Me and my cousin, nah, my
out of state cousin. Me and her too.
You know what I'm saying? I was coming out, she was going in.
Yeah, we was raised like not my close cousin. Out of town, cousin from out of town. Y'all don't know each other. My cousin.
They real
But
That nigga say it's law. Say Rachel with Jacob cousin is law.
I ain't seen you in a while, cousin.
Let's continue. I think it's a burger. Why y'all got all them children? Five? Shoot. How's that gross you 5? You ain't got nothing but raw pants on pants.
This ain't got nothing. That's down.
9. At 9, once you get to 9, you pass hunting stage.
Oh yeah. Once you pass 9.
At 9, you either or you finna go ahead and pull your pants down.
Oh, now?
Now, nigga, I said 1985.
You trying to see what the hot dog would look like now. Just so. Yeah, fifth grade, you already.
Yeah, but now, niggas, when I was 9, there wasn't nobody participating in no intercourse. When I was 9, I was in the 4th grade.
No. It wasn't no intercourse. But nigga definitely was high, touch and see. Touch and peace. That's about it. You just wanted to see something right.
He was so like, oh, yeah.
But I told you, the world has descended into depravity, depraved, and indifference. 19 and 5, Book of Revelation. Let's sit back and meet at his table. And a voice came out of the throne saying, "Praise our Elohim, all you his servants. You that fear him, both small and great." I heard as it were a voice of a great multitude, the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thundering, saying, "Hallelujah! For Yahuwah Elohim omnipotent reign. Let us be glad and rejoice, give honor to him." Yo, calm it down. Calm it down. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. And he said unto me, "Right beruched are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb." And he said unto me, "These are the true sayings of Elohim." So, of course, you see this here, right? You see the meat at his table, everybody sitting down. In Revelation chapter 3, I think he told you, he'd come down and sup with you if you overcame. But let's look at the word for attendance of his ministers. Let's see how his ministers are attended. Hey, little boy. You ain't gonna get to go on that boat. You keep on. We We already seen what it was with their apparel. Now the word for attendance means service. It's ma'amad. So their attendance meaning their service. So when you turn around, you see that it'll say the meat of his table, the sitting of his servants, and the service of his ministers. So let's look up ministers. Silence. Now let's look at sitting. Sitting is moshab, and that means assembly. So when you see that, seat, assembly, dwelling place, or dwellers. So when you see the meat of his table and the sitting of his servant, you basically see the body of Mashiach, is what that's really referring to. His assembly, his gathering, his body. Ministers is Shirah, and it's somebody who is to minister or to serve. So these are people who preach the word. So when you see this here, you see this table, the body, the attendance of his ministers, their apparel, his cup prayers, and with his assent. Assent is the same word that we read last night for burnt offering. It means olah. It's the same word is used in something in Exodus chapter 22. Hold on, let me pull that up. Hey, all y'all need to calm down. All you children need to calm down. No. That literally means ascent. Stairway. On the way up. It's the same word that's used for burnt offering. Come to Exodus chapter, 22? Exodus 20. Exodus chapter 20, verse 24. It says, an altar of the earth you shall make unto me, shall sacrifice thereon your burnt offerings, your peace offerings, your sheep, your oxen, and all the places where I record my name, and I will come unto you and I will bless you. And you will make me an altar of stone, and you shall not build it of hewn stone, for if you lift up your tool upon it, it shall be polluted. If you're not aware, that's another example of the virgin birth, but we're not dealing with all that right now. Neither shall you go up by steps under my altar, that your nakedness be not discovered therein. So when we look at steps, and what comes up or your thoughts, stories of heaven, ascent, a song of ascent, and also the three feasts that you got to come up. The word is ma'alah. So he tell you, you won't go up by steps under my altar. This is something that we done dealt with before. He said you won't come up to his altar with your own thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going to buy the truth, it says you can't sell it. So if you're going to come up to the altar, what you coming up to the altar for? Ephesians chapter 5, you just mentioned it.
What did it say that on thoughts?
That's the definition for the word go up.
On 26.
You bet not start it. You bet not start it. Keep it in the inside. More on the inside. Ephesians 5:1. He said, be ye therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love as a Mashiach also have loved us, and given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet smelling savor. So when you come up to the altar, Yahuwah, what you coming up to the altar to do what? To offer a sacrifice. You already seen that, right? Your peace offerings, your burnt offerings. Well, you can't come up there to his altar and make an ascent with your own thoughts. Do y'all know where's the example of that in the book of Proverbs? Well, that example is, it says that the sacrifice of Yahuwah, he said the sacrifice of the wicked is like an abomination. He said, even more if you bring it with a wicked mind. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't come to him with your own thoughts. Why do we see that? Because what did we read earlier? The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. So, and of course we didn't get to this afternoon. We'll work on it next week, most high willing. This is what the purging process is for. Remember in 2 Corinthians 7, where we were talking about that you got to cleanse yourself from what? All the filthiness of the flesh and ruach. And then you can begin to perfect Kadash and the fear of Elohim. Because you believe he promises. That's why Yahushua told his apostles, he said, you clean from the word that I've spoken unto you. You know what I'm saying? See, you can't actually begin to cleanse yourself with that word until you actually believe it. See, a lot of you don't realize is you ain't actually believe it, so you couldn't do no cleansing. You thought you believed it, or what you thought was the faith. That's what you thought you were doing, but in reality, you hadn't believed anything. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because your inward part wasn't cleansed. Your flesh wasn't cleansed. You know, our law was real big on being clean, right? Y'all know that, right? Real big on it. Especially when it was talking about approaching to Yahuwah. You definitely had to make sure your body was washed. So there's a reason for that. I'm dead serious. Like, maybe you can be nasty and stink any other day, but if you were coming to Yah, you needed to bathe. Maybe I'm talking about dead serious. What it said in the law when they told him to come up to the mountain, what did he told everybody to do? Don't touch your wife, wash your clothes, wash your body. You know what I'm saying? Like this stuff in the law when they talking about the filthiness of the flesh. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to wash your body. Well, how do you wash off the filthiness of the flesh? That would be the immersion. You know what I'm saying? How do you wash the filthiness of the ruach? You wash it with the word in your inward parts. You know what I'm talking about? And this is how you begin the process of doing that. And then him to purge you on the inward parts is what we're going to deal with next week, both how willing, which is the trials, the tests, the afflictions, and things of that nature, which purges a man and make him clean. You know what I'm saying? That's where the instruction or the discipline or the chastening come in at. Because you don't want to sell yourself over and give that up. People sell away their truth. They sell off. You know why people sell their truth? Because they feel like they can get a better deal. That's why we mentioned what we mentioned beforehand. Of course you're going to sell off the truth of Yahuwah if you feel like Buddha give you a better deal. If you feel like the chakras will give you a better deal. If you feel like yo God, whatever that nigga name will give you a better deal, or Allah give you a better deal. That's all they be doing. That's all your forefathers did when they seen the nations. They felt like they gods would give them a better deal. So let me sell it. Why do you think niggas cheat on their wives or cheat on their husbands? Because they think that person gonna get them a better deal. But just like it said in Hosea, you left your husband and they say, you know what? Now I want to go back to my first husband because it was better for me then than it is now. And then you looking like this kid. Now what if he slammed the door in your face and said, no? See, Yahuwah better than most men, because I'm telling you right now, if a man wife cheat on him, he gonna put that hoe out. And you can't come back. But I told you it's different because how a man look at that particular activity differently. Most men do not have the heart that Yahuwah has to the fact of not only, it's one thing if you cheated on me with one woman, with one man. He said you cheated with me to everybody who passed by. You opened your feet to everybody who passed by. So that means Dagon, Yogai, Buddha, Krishna, you open your legs for all of them. It didn't matter who it was, Astaroth, now you're a lesbian. Now you're around here with Tammuz. Now you're around here with Dagon. Now you're around here with Baal. Every time I turn around, you with another nigga. And he said, you know what? Jose, go marry a whore so they can see the love of Yahuwah has for the children. Average man ain't finna do that. Not even the average. 99.9% of men are not finna go marry a woman who was a whore. Definitely ain't finna take back no woman who done slept with 1,000 different men while he was married to her. Because that's what you did. If you can think of a God, you went and laid with it. Male and female. Do you know what I'm saying? And y'all say, I'll take her back. Average dude not gonna do that. And y'all let it be known, he said, I can't do it either. So I gotta come up and do something to take you back, because I can't marry no whore. So I gotta bust a move to clean her up. Because this loose coochie, I can't do nothing with it. Dead serious. We don't look at it in that degree. A woman could get cheated on a lot of times. She might have a little bit more patience. A lot of women do. You shaking your head, you might not, but there's a lot of women get cheated on to stay right there. And just like we were talking about a while back, when that Braxton chick say, if you ain't gonna say nothing about it, if you ain't gonna do nothing, keep your mouth closed. A lot of women ain't gonna leave because that nigga got the bread. So why is she gonna go? You gotta realize something. In a lot of situations, the woman is not in an advantageous situation to depart. So she gonna stay. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of dudes don't leave because they don't want to pay that bread. You know what I'm talking about, bud? Yeah, I done seen that one. That's just in my natural life, married or not married. Yeah, that woman give a lot more leeway on infidelity than a man will. You know what I'm talking about? She cheated on that nigga one time, you dirty whore. He out. You know what I'm talking about? Unless he a sucker. And he be around here like this here. She running all manner of niggas in the house. Taking care of children that ain't his. See, now that's one thing now. Niggas say a lot of things, man. My homegirl told me that when we were young. She was like, nigga, I wouldn't care if you got me pregnant, nigga. You better get a blood test. Cause see, nigga talk that trash. Women play a lot more dirty game. Cause there's a lot of dudes been taking care of kids that ain't theirs. And them women knew them children wasn't that nigga. And they ain't saying damn near word. You know what I'm saying? And I know that from personal experience. Cause my homeboy definitely took care of a little boy that wasn't his for 5 years.
That's why I ain't never believed in that strap.
5 years, bro. You ain't never heard a story of a nigga talking about he had a woman taking care of a child that wasn't hers. You know how she not even happen? Cause she got the birthing.
She know who been in there better than anybody.
Anybody. He can't come up with a random baby and say, this yours. You know what I'm saying? She went, when did I give birth? Women can give birth to another nigga baby. No, that ain't his
I
baby.
feel like that's the only leverage they got.
I done seen it happen too many times.
Real.
Too many times. Niggas that ain't his baby. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like that's the difference between like a nigga hitting the female and then being with another female right after and the girl doing that. As a girl, you can either do it, you can play
it either way.
Yeah, you can play it either
You can
way.
throw that baby off on whoever you want.
That's what's worse. If a nigga do it like it ain't really.
He ain't carrying no baby.
Yeah.
He just got 2-3 women carrying a baby.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But a woman could be messing with 2 dudes and be like, well, shoot, this one here doing this one here, so I'm gonna say it's his baby.
Yeah, because he got the bread. Or I know this is gonna do right.
It happens a lot.
Versus a female locked in, but a short time nigga locked in for.
It's ugly. But that's like I told you, the word done fell into depravity. You know what I'm saying? Or depravity. Because that ain't right.
It ain't right either way.
You know what I'm saying? Because you shouldn't be slinging your meat like that, and you shouldn't be having multiple different sausages up in your bun.
And if ain't neither one of y'all strapped up,
No, you done had a hot dog bun. You can't
got
fit 2 sausages in no hot dog bun. That's like, you know you ain't got no business sleeping around with a whole bunch of men. You can't fit more than one in one bun at a time. And you trying to stack them. Can't double stack no hot dog.
Reuse the bun.
Reuse the bun.
Reuse the bun.
Can't reuse the bun. You gotta get a new bun. That bun used. What's going on here? You know what I'm saying?
That ain't right.
Which one? I might have good steps. Man. Yeah, I did. It just didn't work in well. It's gonna probably work more in when we really talk about purging. Cause we started in Wednesday. But then serious though, that junk ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you, I done had one like this is like I see dudes with a chick, she pregnant, and you be like, yo, that's your baby, man. When your baby do? Oh, they ain't none of my baby. Nigga, what? What type of woman is she? You know what I'm talking about? You let a nigga jump up and down in you while you carrying another nigga baby. Oh, you's a different type of woman. Oh, niggas don't care because they say pregnant coochie the best coochie, so that's what niggas be wanting. That nigga would say, I ain't even want to say nothing, but you know. That's how niggas feel. Man, let me tell you something, right? If a nigga doing bad, boy, a nigga wouldn't care. If he feel like she'll take care of him, give him somewhere to stay, you know what I'm saying? Free booty, she get. Most time niggas jump on somebody they feel is vulnerable. If a man feel like a woman vulnerable, yeah, I done heard plenty of niggas in my time. Boy, that pregnant coochie, I'm telling you, boy. I'm laughing at this nigga. My chain looking like, you know. Monte say I tend to agree. I don't know. So. Number one, because I wouldn't hit no chick. I could have hit pregnant chicks, but that's disgusting. That's not my baby.
Yeah, I ain't never
You definitely got to worry about. That's another reason why niggas do it, because they know they can go BoJack. Yeah, niggas know they can go BoJack. You know what I'm saying? But well, I ain't on that. I'm not on that.
No, I'm saying that's niggas ain't on that.
I wouldn't even entertain a woman.
Not no 7, 8 months. That nigga just wild.
Man, look here, man. I know chicks who was pregnant and a nigga was with them for the whole pregnancy. So I'm like, where was the nigga who got you pregnant? That you had another man. Then, how low is your self-esteem that you pregnant by another nigga and got a whole new man before you had the baby?
She's just thinking about the baby, bro.
No, she thinking about that hot to try coochie. That's what she thinking about.
She's thinking about, oh man, he ain't gonna work. I gotta find a new father.
Yeah.
That's how, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. You can shake your head all you want. That's how you gonna be thinking.
It's a rough life out here we living. You know what I'm saying? And mentioning all that show you how, again, what we talking about, when we finna get ready to slide, how deceitful a nigga's thoughts is. Because in your mind's so sick, you think it's cool. It's bad enough you pregnant and you ain't married. Do you know what I'm saying? It's bad enough you pregnant and you ain't married. But then your mind was sick to even get to that point. But then you compound it by saying, let me sleep with another nigga. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So I'm just gonna fill my uterus up with another man's semen while my baby's sitting in here. He like, what is this stuff coming in my house? You know what I'm saying? We know it don't work like that.
But it's crazy because I get out and the baby came out looking like the boy.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and it was crazy.
We crack jokes about that. We know that the semen doesn't literally slap the little boy upside his head. Why would you use a condom on a pregnant woman?
That takes fun out of it.
Have a good time.
What you worried about? She got syphilis?
She got it, the baby got it, and you got it.
Everybody blind. Yeah, I've heard about that, about a woman sleeping with a dude and the baby came out looking like the other dude. I've definitely heard that.
What I hear a lot of times, like, girl have a girlfriend, so they go back to the ex.
That happens. But a chick I know, that was not her ex. That was a new nigga. She was pregnant, moved that nigga in the house, and shoot, after she had that baby, that nigga was gone probably about 30 days later, 45 days later. Yeah, that's what happened. Well, they always say women got a nigga on reserve, which you slut hoe. That's what you is. You got a nigga on reserve. How you with somebody with a nigga on reserve?
Yeah. Just in case the other nigga act up, you got.
But then at that point, you don't need to be with the nigga you with.
You don't know if he gonna work out.
At that point, you don't need to be with the nigga you with. If you gotta have a man on reserve because you ain't confident somebody gonna do what you want them to do, something wrong with your brain. And you need to leave that nigga alone.
Man, you know, everybody got an emergency would call.
Men don't have women on reserve. Men have women that they know will let them hit.
Yeah,
it's not on reserve. Cause see, you talking about reserve. But no, from what I've heard, reserve is he gonna take your place and be my man. That nigga just looks like this.
That's what it is.
That's a totally different scenario. That nigga's a hoe.
Reserve is like, I'm gonna be in a relationship with this person. Yeah, for men.
But
reserve is
that's depraved and sick all the way around. That's sick. But you know the worst part is it's sick because we have rationalized this behavior that nothing is wrong with it. And then there's many other things that why our minds are sick. Our minds are sick to the fact that we feel like we can take human life, whether it's abortion, whether it's murder. We done depraved to the point where we feel like we can get drunk out our mind, high out of our mind. These niggas so depraved now they feel like they can cuss their mama out,
pick them up.
cuss their dad out.
You said what? What?
She played the song shit.
What are you talking about?
They don't need to know that because it's irrelevant. She the dumbest nigga in the history of niggas.
Said she got what she wanted.
She's stupid. So you sit with a nigga, he been cheating on this old lady for 10 years. Who took your place? That's that's sad, y'all. But hey, blessings out the house of y'all name Yahusha. All praise be to you in the name of Yahusha. We appreciate y'all, man. Of course, we gonna steady gonna go through talking about the trying and the testing and also the sickness of we put that clock on.
I like them though. That's Nipsey Blue.
The depravity of people's minds, so that we can see that we can be able to believe these promises and perfect ourselves and the fear of Elohim and perfect Kadash. So again, blessings out the house, y'all name of Yahusha. I appreciate y'all, love y'all. Y'all willing to the next time.
Next time.
Got to live on that.